Welcome back, everyone, to the T.R.O.N podcast. This is your host, Rashad Woods. I have a very special guest today, entrepreneur, loves to help people, has healing and different methods to help people reach the better versions of themselves. Entrepreneur, Shannon Grace from Malibu, California. Thank you so much.
Thank you. I'm so honored to
I
be
really
here,
appreciate
Rashad.
you. Thank you.
I'm so happy. I
Your
appreciate you
travels
too.
in life and your path has taken many avenues, but you've always had whatever stumbled and came in front of you make you reach the better version of yourself, and now you're helping others. Please, what's some background about you?
Yes. Wow. So time seems to fly by. And when I think back to being younger, it's like society puts you in a box and you're supposed to do this and do this and do that. And so I moved to Colorado and I started at a tech company selling voice over IP technology and working my way up the corporate ladder. And then I met my husband and had my 2 kids. So I started, or I decided to stay home after that because the nannies were raising the kids and I wanted to be a mom full time. So after that, it's like being a mom is so fulfilling and it's a lot of work, but it's the creative part of my mind didn't shut down. And so I had an idea one day in yoga class for a product. I went home and I was like, oh my gosh, is there anything else like this out there? And I went to stores and there was nothing. Wow. And so I created this product, from concept and brought it to market, all just researching myself. So this is the path as I'm figuring out, as I'm still evolving. I'm like, I always figure it out no matter what. And we were just talking briefly before you started recording. We're both nerds, and I'm totally a nerd in that way. I'm like, okay, if I want to figure something out, I'm going to put my head down and just research and read and ask people and drive places and get that knowledge. And so I started my business, and it was because it shut down during COVID, but a women's undergarment. Women's undergarment for, it specifically served a purpose, and it was for people in yoga or very active, because I was really into yoga, and then eventually I got into triathlon and I did Ironman, and so very active. It's just who I am as a person. And so I did my own marketing, so I would just persistence and grit. And so as I'm learning too, it's not even like your knowledge, it's just your persistence and your grit and just picking yourself back up, dusting off, and then just keep going. That holds more weight than if you just study, and you don't take action. So action speaks louder than words. And so I got onto Howard Stern show.
I saw that.
I sent my product to Chelsea, Chelsea Handler, which I really love Chelsea. So her Chelsea Lately show, she read my letter and laughed and held up my product. And I was like, no freaking way. And then I know, and I'm like, oh my gosh. And my product was on the doctors, and that was a big show. Dr. Oz reached out to me. I flew out to Playboy Radio and did radio. Radio was like so fun for me. I'm typically a super shy person.
I couldn't tell. I really can't tell.
How I right? I'm like, who are you? Because I constantly work on myself. So we'll get to that in a minute. But I was just like, wow, I'm so proud of myself. But then radio, I'm able to speak, but then I don't have the whole audience. Like, I still have a fear of being seen. Like, all the eyeballs on me, I'm like, I don't do good on stage, and I have stage fright. But if it's just like me and you having conversation, I'm pretty good. But I had to get to that point too, because I had a lot of social anxiety, and it stems back to my childhood. And so coming from like an abusive childhood, to be seen was dangerous. And so you would hide to have eyes on you. You're like, oh my gosh, I'm in danger. And so it carries over into your adulthood, where when eyeballs are on you, it puts you into dorsal vagal shutdown or fight or flight. And your central nervous system goes to level 10 just by eyeballs on you. And sometimes you don't know why as an adult, but doing the work that I've done, it's like, oh, this is a childhood thing. A lot of stuff stemming from, or the stuff that you do every day in life is your subconscious brain is driving the ship. And it's the little Rashad, it's the little Shannon inside. And when you tune into that, it will speak up saying, it's taking me back to that place in time when you were scared as a child, and it's carrying over to adulthood. So, fine. I'm going off track, going back to...
I love it.
I know. So we'll dive deeper into that, because this is what I'm doing now. I'm helping people with that because I've lived and breathed that story. It's still who I'm living and breathing at this moment, because I'm always going to be learning. I'm always going to be evolving until the
Right.
day that I die. And I know
Right.
that about myself because I'm here. We're on this earth school, as they call it, and we're learning lessons. And we all signed up for a soul contract with people, with
Yes.
situations, and we're
Right.
here for a reason. We all have our specific path. And that's why you cannot go on somebody else's lane and go, well, he's successful and he has this and his kids
Absolutely.
do that.
Absolutely.
No, my gosh, they have their own path and so do you. That's why you're like, okay, the ego came out. I felt the jealousy. I felt the competition, but actually, I need to do that with myself. Competitions with myself and work on myself and make me a better version every single day. And so, with my business, I was really proud of myself,
Mm-hmm.
breaking out of my shell and working really hard. And I have 3 patents and
Oh,
a
that's amazing.
trademark. And like yeah, it was so fun. And I had my 15 minutes of fame. And then COVID
I don't even
shut
want
it
to talk
down.
about that time because
But
that just,
right. Let's just it exists, but it's not going to
I
hold weight
still
on
get
us
scars
anymore.
just
Like it's
thinking about that
there.
time. No,
What
just
happened to you?
like it's like it's like a movie. You're living, like you see
It
movies
is
and then you're like, this can't really be real. It can't be real. And
right.
you're just stunned and you're just like, the world really stopped on its axis, so to speak, right? And you have no
It
words
did.
for something.
No words, and
It
it was
really
like a
was.
movie. And you're like,
Oh my gosh.
really? Like the gym is shutting down, the grocery stores, there's
Oh,
nothing on the shelves. It's like you watch this on TV, but yeah, like this isn't real. And then recently with the fires in Malibu, I'm like, what? So you drive down PCH and it's like
oh my gosh.
apocalyptic still, like
Yeah.
burnt houses and burnt trees and cars, people fleeing in the Palisades. You're like, this is real. This is
Unbelievable.
really what we signed
Unbelievable.
up for. And we're at this time, Rashad, in the planet where there's going to be so
Yes.
much change and it's
Right.
already happening. And our soul signed
For
up for
sure.
this time and space to be a part of this transformation and to raise the
Right.
vibration by getting out of
Right.
fear, coming back
Mhm.
into your heart and coming into love and being
Right.
of service. And so through my career changes, because my company shut down, I went through a divorce and I tried real estate because everybody's like, you'd be great at real estate. I'm like, I just don't feel like
Right.
I would be, I'm making small talk with people in the car. And it's just like, I want to talk about
Right.
deeper things and like trying to sell them houses just didn't
For
resonate with
sure.
who I was. And then I went into property management, which you kind of do that if you're in real estate to make extra money. And so the company I worked for, they're like, yo, you'd be great at this affordable housing complex in Boulder, Colorado. And it was hell. Like my eyes started twitching so bad. My nervous system was just shot. I just wasn't fulfilling. My soul
Mhm.
had angst. My soul was like, you're not meant to do this. But I learned
Right.
so many lessons from
Right.
those jobs that are valuable. And then I sold
I saw that.
cybersecurity
Right.
technology. And I did that because I'm like, okay, I have a sales background, but every day I would sit on the computer and just click away. And I was so exhausted because my soul wasn't getting fed and I was just paying my bills. And so every time I'm like, okay. And then I did legal recruiting, medical recruiting. I did med spa sales. I was just like throwing spaghetti at the wall to see if
Very
anything would
transactional
stick.
things for
And nothing.
short-term satisfaction economically, but not anything long-term on a personal level that you were passionate. Right.
Right, exactly. And so, yeah, you're just tired every day, just going through the motions. And so, when I sat back and just quieted my mind, so when you pray, you're asking for advice from spirit, from God, you're needing help. But when you sit down and you're quiet and you meditate, that's when answers
Right.
come in. A lot of people pray and I want this and I want this, but they won't quiet their mind for the
Exactly.
answers and they miss the signs and synchronicities that spirit gives to you. So when you quiet your mind, the answers actually will come. So when I sat there and reflected and like, why is my life like I'm starting all these new jobs, they don't resonate. I'm getting laid off after layoff after layoff. It seems like I would join a major company and 6 months later they would either get acquired or their budget was too small and they had to lay off. And so I was always the last to come in and the first to leave. And I'm like, I'm
Right.
such a hard worker. And I'm like, I do whatever you guys are asking. I'm like, why am I always getting laid off? I'm like, okay. I need to quiet my mind and what is going on? I'm not doing
Correct.
something right. Something's off. And so what came to me was like, okay, I'm drawn to spirituality. I'm drawn to anything esoteric, arcane knowledge. You sit there and study. The mainstream doesn't know this knowledge, but there's something to it and it's resonating with my soul. I must have past lives as a healer or
Mm-hmm.
something to do with like healing people because I love to be in service, and energy healing called to me. And I was like, okay, so I got attuned by Reiki, which is
Japanese.
usually like the first, yeah, Japanese, and you channel universal love and consciousness
Hmm.
through your body and you give it to the person on the table. It's a very beautiful healing modality that's very gentle
Hmm.
and calming. And I was like, wow, I want to do this full time, but how do you do
Right.
this full time? And so my last layoff, I'm like, you know what?
All
I'm just
in.
going to go full
All in.
force because
Yep.
all in. Because what
Yep.
else do I have right now? Find another job and in 6 months I'm going to be laid off. Why not try
Hmm.
this full time? Collectively, throughout all the careers that I had, I'm like, I love being in service to people. So when I was in real estate, I'm like, to help somebody and then see their face light up, I'm like, that's
Right.
the spark. It doesn't matter about the money or the sale or getting like the award, because I've won awards for President's Club and it's fun. Yes, I get to go to St. John's and like party for a week. But at the same time, like to see somebody really
For sure.
happy and I was really in service and I really helped them, that's what spoke to me. I'm like, okay, that's the spark that I
Which
need
you
to
would wake
play
up to
on.
every single
And
day,
so
ready to be just, yeah,
every
it's
single
priceless.
day, just in service. And so I'm like, oh my gosh. And so I'd bring Reiki clients in and just watch them transform. They would have breakdowns on the table and you're like, yes, like you're feeling something and you're
Right.
holding it in, and I'm helping them. The healer is never just supposed to say they're healing. I'm never healing you. I'm just
Hmm.
giving you the energy, the platform, the
Hmm.
safe space, and it's what you
Absolutely.
do with
Right.
it is up
And
to
so,
you.
yeah, right. And so, you have to be receptive to, people are tendency, I think social media, to its point, open people up to a degree, but I think it also closed people off to personal interaction, so to speak, right? Because you get to hide
Oh, for
behind
sure.
your real emotion. You get to have a very spontaneous moment of get back or reply, but now you're actually having a one-on-one with somebody where you're like, okay, we're going to take 30 minutes, 45 minutes, an hour to actually decompress and break down who you are as a person.
Yes.
And for a lot of people,
Yes.
particularly post-COVID, or even have not had that type of human interaction, just briefly, most of your interaction is either with your spouse, who, or a significant other, kids, or coworkers. You don't have that one
Mm-hmm.
particular individual that's like, hey, I'm yours, you're mine for a given amount of time. So we're going to cut through the fat and get right to who you are. You know what I mean?
Yep, exactly. You just said
Yeah.
that so beautifully, because social media
Yes.
isolates you and then you just see the best parts of people. You don't see the real in the
Not at
kitchen and
all.
their conversations and
Nope.
in bed at night and nothing. It's just all rainbows and butterflies. And so it makes you feel like, what's wrong with me? And I'm lonely, and or my spouse and I fight, and is
Right.
this normal? And so it puts you, yeah, we're the most lonely
For
as
sure.
we've ever
For
been.
sure.
And they say in the coming future, 1 in 3 people are going to be alone and not find
Right.
somebody, and it's
It is.
sad to me. But I know how it, yeah, it's like disheartening, but it's like, okay, no, there's the
Mm-hmm.
hope isn't lost. And so I've studied under different doctors and different modalities. I have a lot under my belt, but the recent one, it really speaks to me. And when I saw him, his name is
Mm-hmm.
Dr. John Amaral. My company shut down. I had moved from Colorado to Orange County, and I was in this relationship that wasn't healthy. And I was home alone one night and I was watching Netflix, and Gwyneth Paltrow, she has a show on Netflix called Goop Lab. There's about
Okay.
7 episodes and they all
I've seen it.
something different, like going off to,
Yeah.
yeah. So she has like stuff like going off to Costa Rica and taking psilocybin and having breakthroughs. You're tuning into your third eye for psychic mediumship and developing those skills. And one of them was called like the energy
Yeah.
healer. I'm like, oh
For
my God,
sure.
energy healer. I need
For
to
sure.
watch this. And so I watched it and I'm like, what is that
Yeah.
energy healing modality? And who is that person who's doing it? I'm going to learn that and do it for a living. And I'm going to learn from him. I don't know how
Yep.
it's going to happen. I'm just going to
Exactly.
throw it out to the ethers. Fast forward to 5 years later. Sometimes manifestations take a long time because they're big. And people are like, oh, I asked for this and why isn't it happening? And then something bad happened right after it. It's
Exactly.
happening for you,
Right.
not to you. And so if you view it in that lens, it's happening for me, it's actually making you a stronger person and developing your personality. Or you could be like, for me, my recent lessons have been in boundaries, because I'm very much a giver and I want to help people so bad, but they overstep boundaries with me all the time. And I
Yep.
give, where I'm so exhausted and like my cup is
For yourself.
barely full, but then
Yep.
for myself,
Right.
but then theirs is full. And so I'm like, I need to stop doing that. If I really want to really help people, I have to fill up my own
Absolutely.
cup first
It's
and
just
then
like
fill up theirs. It's
the
just like the
plane. On the
analogy
plane.
on the plane.
Right.
Yes,
Yep. Give your own oxygen mask first. You have to.
you have to, or else you're going to pass out and
Right.
everybody else will
Exactly.
be dead. So taking that in mind, okay, so all those things that happened in that 5 years, like, wow, I didn't think I was going to come out of it. The relationship I was in was
Oh,
horrible. My gosh, I grew so much after it because he taught me how to stand up for myself, boundaries, how to not give too much and draw lines when I'm like, okay, the red flags that I constantly was like, what red flag? What red flag? Because I just wanted to be
for sure.
loved so bad because I came from a childhood
Right.
with no love. And so you search for breadcrumbs and you accept breadcrumbs because you feel inside that's all you deserve. And so I was accepting breadcrumbs and now I'm like, no, I deserve the
For sure you
whole
do.
baguette. I deserve the
Right.
whole loaf. We
Right.
all do. So it taught me so much. And coming out of that, I exited a brand
Beautiful.
new person, which thank you. I thank you
Right.
for those lessons. They were hard, but I am so grateful. And same for my parents. Like, wow, the lessons they have taught me and who I am, it wouldn't have made me the person I am today, being the healer, the giver, and just my heart goes out to people because I've been in situations that were
Right.
so dire that I know how I can empathize with that person, and I've made my way out of it. And now I have these tools that I can share with people, and it's so beautiful. So I know that's my soul's path. And so fast forward to 5 years, I see on social media, Dr. Amaral is like, hey, I need volunteers. I'm going to start teaching somatic energy healing in person. And I'm not going to talk about the project that he's working on because
Yes.
it's not launched yet, but they wanted people in the LA area. And I was in Orange County. And I was like, should I lie? Should I lie and give another address? Because I really want to be part of this. But I was like, Shannon,
Yeah.
don't
Can't do it.
lie. Like, you
Can't.
don't want to lie. Just don't do it. Just be honest. And if it's meant for you, it'll happen. And so I applied. It was like an hour long filling out of application. And then I get a DM in my social, and it's like, you are one of very few that got handpicked for
Beautiful.
this project. And I'm like,
Yeah.
no way. I still can't believe it. I am just like, and I'm still working with him with a small group, and it's been a
Beautiful.
year. And I am now becoming a somatic energy healing practitioner, and I'm going to become a teacher as well and teach other
Full
people wanting
circle.
to learn. And I'm just like, it's
Full
full
circle.
circle. And I'm like, yeah, it took 5, 6 years, but this is a big ask. And there's a lot of learning in this modality. It's very technical. I had to learn because he's a chiropractor by trade. He doesn't do chiropractic anymore, but it's like all based on the spine. And so I had to learn the spine, and I had to learn anatomy and active system, passive neural. And so you do all these checks on the body with palpation. And so palpation just means touching. And so you touch certain parts of their body, and then you do checks on their feet and their legs, which tells you what's going on in their central nervous system. And that gives me an idea of where to start with their energy field, because your body reflects
Right.
your energy field. Your energy field has different layers, and think of it like rainbows or the Russian nesting dolls. They're
Right.
right in front of you, and they all are connected to chakras, and they all do certain things within your body. And so these energy centers in your body too, they're always either letting out energy or they're bringing in
Right.
an energy. And we have this torus, the toroidal flow. It's a central
Yeah.
channel that goes
Like a
through us.
lightning
And as we go
rod.
through life,
Right.
yes. And it goes in and it goes up and it goes around. And it's like a big donut around your body, and it just keeps flowing. So throughout life, when we have stuff happen that's traumatic or very emotionally charged and we don't express it in a healthy way, we develop what's called an adaptation pattern. So these patterns, there's 7 of them. They get like the energy gets stuck in your certain places in your body. And so think of that central channel. It's supposed to flow up and
Right.
down
Right.
continuously. And so as we go through life and we develop these patterns, the energy that gets stuck, the energy will have to go around these parts of your body. And so it causes chronic pain, causes
Fatigue,
sometimes for you
illnesses.
to view
Right.
fatigue, illnesses, because your blueprint holds your blueprint of your illness in your energy field, which is reflected in your body. So when you have a discrepancy in your energy field, it's going to manifest in your body. And so even like say something happened, like say you were cheated on in your your marriage. And so you have this lens now, you have this trauma in your body because you held it in, and you're just like, you had to be strong for your kids, and you're just like trying to hold it together so you don't express emotions. So you're like in victimhood going, he did that to me and it's his fault. Our family fell apart and the kids are broken now. And it's just like my life, I didn't picture it like this. So you're living in this adaptation pattern of things didn't work out because of that person. And so you view the lens, think of like glasses, and they're green. And so you're looking through life through these glasses. Everything that happens in life, you're viewing through that lens. And so it's like, well, they did that to me, and that's why I lost my job.
Very
and they
easy
did
to point
that.
fingers.
But you don't, very easy, but you don't even realize you're doing it. You have no reference point. And so until this energy is liberated from your body, you don't even know you're doing it. And so this work is so fascinating, where it liberates the energy from your body. It allows it to be released and for it to flow again. And then the lens comes off and you're like, what? I didn't even know I was doing that. I didn't even know. Like, it's just fascinating. So he's worked on me a bunch for the project, and we're being filmed. And so it's very vulnerable. And so a lot of people are going to learn a lot of childhood and trauma. And, but I'm all for it if it's for learning. And it's literally changed my life. I am a completely different human after everything I've been through. It was held in my body, and you can tell by looking at people's backs, their spine.
For sure.
Yes,
the tension they hold in their,
you can tell the tension. Yeah. And people in class are like, Shannon, like a year ago when you walked in and you're laying on the table, like I was just bone. Like my spinal column was so rigid. Think of like a dog who lives on the streets and they're starving and their bones are protruding and it's hard. You're holding a lot of energy in your passive system, which means your discs, ligaments, vertebrae, fascia, like your spine. And that is tied into your safety and survival being incarnated in your body. And so when your people's spines are really hard, like a steel rod or a piece of wood, their first energy center is tied into that, and their safety and survival is being compromised. And so they're just trying to survive at this point. Nothing else matters. And so you can tell just by their spine and palpating or even looking, you're like, wow, I know exactly what you're going through right now. Like I can just tell what state you're in. It's been really fascinating. And so learning about myself through this modality too, you have to work on yourself as a practitioner in order to recognize it on somebody on the table. So
and not only that though, but the first question a good patient or client will ask is, how did this work for you? Right.
Yeah.
And you can't fake the funk on that one, right? So to speak.
Yeah. You can't. Yeah. So like I'm my personal story, and working on these different fields, like let's just say a big one for me is my emotional field. It's big for me because I've repressed it my whole life because I was in constant fight or flight and survival. You don't have time to express emotions. And even if I did in childhood, it was severe, like choked, kicked in the face. Yeah. Stuff broken over my body. Like you didn't speak and you didn't express emotions because you were so frightened for your life. And so it's terrible, but I didn't know I was repressing my emotions throughout life. I didn't know but it was a protective survival mechanism and a pattern I was chronically in, but had no clue. And so now that my emotions are coming online, and I'm like, wow, I didn't even have a reference point. I've been living like this probably since birth and had no clue. And so for me to get that field energized, and I have to keep working on it, I'm never going to recognize it with the people on the table because I have a blocker to not recognize it. So when people have emotional releases on the table, now it doesn't. But at the beginning, when I was starting this work, it frightened me for them because people will scream like loud, they're releasing trauma. And I would just sit there like scared. I'm like, oh my God. And John's like, you have to get over this because people on the table, they're going to scream and they're going to, sometimes they get up off the table and they'll like throw stuff. They'll just like, it's not right. I know. Yeah. Because their emotional field got activated and this repression is coming out, and it's not them personally. It's just like the emotion is flowing. And so emotions are tied into activity with your muscles. And so when emotions come up, you're just like, oh, what do I do? Your muscles are activated. So they'll run around, they'll throw stuff, they'll scream so loud. Now I'm fine with it because my emotional field is starting to get energized. And so going back to this modality, you have to work on yourself in order to help people fully. So I'm like, what other what other career has you want to work on yourself? Other careers don't give a crap. They just want you to like die working for them, and they don't care if you have a work-life balance or if your kid chips their tooth. They're like, I don't care. You should have been logged on at this time. You're
Yeah.
like, oh my gosh. So I'm just
Yeah.
so grateful that I found this and I'm making a career out of it full
For sure.
time. Where it's just like, wow, my soul finally feels like
For
it can
sure.
take a
So
breath.
that's beautiful. And too, so are your appointments in person? This has to be all in person, I'm imagining. Do you have people traveling to you? Is there an office location? Things of that nature? It seems like very personal, not online.
Yes, so right. I can do both, but with somatic energy healing, it needs to be in person. So I have two places in Woodland Hills,
Mm-hmm.
two practices, locations. And then recently I just set up a place at my home in Malibu. And so people that I know personally can come to my home at that office because it's inside the property. But people that I've just, getting to know and they're new, I'm going to take to the Woodland Hills
Nice.
locations. Somatic energy healing needs to be in person, but I also do another one, which I am traveling tomorrow. I'm going to go to Kansas City to work on two clients.
Nice.
It's called Pure. Yes, yes. It's called Pure Bioenergy. And bioenergy is working with a blueprint in your field. And so you either add energy or you take it away, depending on if they have inflammation. There's a protocol for each illness. And so recently I worked on, she's a friend now, and she has
Oh,
stage 4
terrible.
cancer, and she has tumors all over her body. And so I did pure bioenergy. It has to be 4 days in a row consecutively, because you can't just blast people with energy. It needs to be
Mm-hmm.
4 days in a row, and then it keeps doing its thing for 10 days after. So working on her tumors, thought it was fascinating, because when I was working on one side of her body, the other
Oh
tumor
my
was hurting.
goodness.
And when I was working on that one, they were all talking to
Mm-hmm.
each other. And by the fourth session, there was like less and less each time, because I would feel in my hands, like my hands would be buzzing and glued to her. And she's like, ow. And I'm like, don't worry, it's part of the process. By the fourth session, we were both like, wow, I
Yeah.
barely feel anything now. And so she had her numbers checked a couple weeks after I worked on her, and she was like,
Oh,
my
beautiful.
numbers went down.
Beautiful.
And she was like, they were going up, and so they went down. So I'm gonna work on a client, probably doing somatic energy healing to release emotions, but she's on the verge of an autoimmune, and so that has to do with pent
Right.
up emotions. Your body is responding to all the
Right.
stagnant energy, and it reflects on, especially autoimmune are big for women, because we repress our
Of course.
emotions, and we just got to get
Your
it done
mother,
and be the
wife,
mom and be
etc. Yeah.
the wife
Right.
and mother. Yeah. And you just like get it done. And that results in illness. And then my second patient, I will do pure bioenergy on, and she had 3
Wow.
strokes and she's in a home. And so I'm going to work on her for stroke, and then I'm going to make her a customized guided meditation so she can listen to every day. Kind of like a Joe Dispenza, like just imagining you're in your kitchen and you're cooking food again, and you're walking maybe with a walker, and just being more independent instead of rotting in this chair in this home, which I just feel like she has the ability, if she just were to believe in herself and given
Right.
the right energy and what she does with it, she'll be able to be
That's
more
beautiful.
mobile. So yeah, I do fly out for stuff like that, and then I can do remote. So I can do remote sessions, because energy isn't linear. You don't have to be right
Right.
in front of the person. You can be in Malibu in China, and
Right.
it still reaches the person. It's your intention on it. So I
Mm-hmm.
do Reiki, which is I can do remotely or in person, and then pure bioenergy is remote or in person. Of course, I love to be in person,
Of
because I do
course.
like to
Of
see them and
course.
talk to them, and it's more personal. But yeah, that is an option. And then somatic energy healing, yes,
Well,
that's in person.
I'll just tell you, as a
Yeah.
practitioner of martial arts, right? One of the things that we always focus on, right? I'm curious,
Oh,
and so yeah, I have a black belt in karate, I have a brown belt in taekwondo, I take Muay Thai, and I take Brazilian Jiu Jitsu, and so everything you're talking about, yeah, meditate. No, I
wow.
want to emphasize, I am not great. Anybody who's going to listen,
It doesn't matter.
I'm not a
It doesn't
professional,
matter.
right?
But you're doing
Right.
it and you're passionate
So one
about
of
it,
the
and it's
things that
helping you.
you will talk about is the calmness of your muscles, muscle relaxation. Obviously I've been
Yes.
fortunate enough where I didn't, have to suffer any abuse, or I didn't have any chronic illness of that regard. We all have our little nuts and bolts and things that
Yeah.
we deal with. But when you talk
Sure.
about making your
Mm-hmm.
mind right, whether it's feeling inadequate, in self-confidence, there's nothing in martial arts that will
Yeah.
shatter your ego worse than when you're trying your best, training your best, and somebody whoops your butt. And you're just
I
like,
know.
how did that
Yeah.
happen? when you're talking about healing, and at the beginning, when you're like, you have to find the better version of yourself, you have to not let your ego get in the way. You have to find that level of where you're going to be satisfied where you're at. And what I noticed with me was when I said, okay, I've achieved something at this level, even though I'm not that, I found my happy space. And then even now to even take it further, I always thought that I was like, man, I'm in shape, I look great. And then one day somebody filmed me, sparring with a classmate. Oh, it was horrible, right? I'm cool with the guy. His wife filmed it. And then I saw the video, right? And I was like, whose stomach is that juggling around on that? Oh, no. It's horrible. And so then I did my own self-healing, and I was more critical because the video didn't lie of who was really on that video. Yeah. And so then you become, okay, cut this out of my food. And after I started losing weight, I was never huge, but I wasn't satisfied. To your point, I felt better, right? And then it became healing. My muscles felt lighter. Your joints feel better. Your stomach feels better. And it was just like, you mean to tell me all I had to do was actually be honest with myself, right? That's it. All I had to do was stop lying to myself, right? I had to stop lying to myself, and like once I stopped lying to myself, I was like, man, I should have did this 10 years ago and stopped lying to myself.
I know. But you didn't have those tools back then. And so that's where you forgive yourself, because you didn't have the tools. But the fact that you did that on your own with no guidance, like, pat yourself on the back. Like, your higher self, which is a piece of your soul that's still up there, speaks to you, but you have to be open to listening to it. So you took that and you listened to it, and you actually did it, and you saw results. And so that's where you strengthen that muscle with the divine, because you're like, okay, I heard that. I actually listened to it and I got results from it. So now you're like, okay,
absolutely. And it was something that because you can do it two ways, right? You can get really sulky about it, or you can start actually self-acknowledging and be on the path to betterness and improvement. Because what'll happen is that when you reach a certain age, you'll see the physical decline in people, right? And you'll see, to your point, when they start weighing life on their body, right? You can see the stress.
Yes. You can physically
see the hair thinning. The skin doesn't look healthy. The nails are, and I'm not judging, but you can see when life is finally starting.
No, it's just observation.
Life is really and you don't know what somebody's going through. And I think that your field of work has probably found that a lot of people, particularly when COVID and other things finally all came to a head, and they had years and decades of buildup, all led to these particular moments, particularly isolation, right? So I just want to know where people can find you. Where can people find you and your services?
You can find me on my website, The Graceful Healer, because my name is Shannon Grace. So thegracefulhealer.com. Yeah, you can find me there, and you can email me and set up an appointment. And I have a free 15-minute consult. So whatever you're needing answers on, or just, if you just have questions, because I know it's a lot for people to wrap their head around. People more and more are hearing about energy work, so it's not so foreign, but they're still like, what does it mean?
Because we do traditional medicine over here in the States so much more, right? We do
traditional, Western, and even Eastern, but energy work is different, and it very much is like, okay, what does it do? But people are interested, so I'm in this field at the right time, because people are actually listening now. And modern medical, even like Harvard, John goes out and speaks to all the physicians at Harvard, because they're actually listening now. Like, okay, if we combined Western medicine with energy work, what will it do for somebody who has PTSD and is a vet who is going to commit suicide? Like, let's study this now. And so, they're studying energy work, and like, there's science behind it now. It's not just like, oh, she's a witch in the mountains. It's like, no, I'm not.
Because let's face it. Face it, 20 years ago, people were like, nah, man, I'm not doing none of that stuff. And then, and so now that people's minds are more open, obviously, if you need heart surgery, go see it, get your heart surgery taken,
Yes, please.
Right.
Still go to the doctor. Still go to the doctor and take your meds if you need to. But this is like another piece where we can work together with your doctor, or your psychologist or psychiatrist. And not saying don't stop anything. It's just another modality that you can use to heal your body and your mind in a more holistic way. And so I'm super excited to just get going and help people as much as I can. And I know I'm fulfilling my soul's purpose. So
the thing is about it, you found with Jerry Maguire called the T.R.O.N of your life, so to speak, right? So so that's basically like, it's a quote. I'm a movie quote guy, so basically it means like that beautiful part of their life where it's like their Bodhi tree, so to speak, right? In that nirvana, like that nirvana
Oh,
moment.
okay.
So,
Yes.
even though you had to go through those
Yes.
trials in life to get where you're at, everything was a learning lesson along the way to get you right to where you are,
Everything.
right? And that's the singular most
Yes,
important thing.
it is. And if that's like the one takeaway with people watching, if you're not at your goal yet, just
Mm.
keep going and just keep picking yourself up, dusting off your shoulders, and just keep going towards that goal, because the stuff coming your way that you view as like, why
Right.
is this happening to me? Or this went wrong and this blew up, is actually guiding
Yes.
you to the path that you're actually wanting. So just keep that in mind. And then also, I know men,
Mhm.
because I have two boys,
Right.
they're adults now, but men hold in their emotions because
Yep.
they're conditioned that way. Like, suck it up. You skin your knee, don't cry. Like, you're a man, man. Men have to like provide, and they need to keep the house going in terms of like making the money and keeping the
Right.
stable ground. And
Right.
like, you don't show emotions because you're like, that's
Absolutely.
weakness. It's
Not
not.
even close.
It's
Not even
not
close.
weakness. Women actually want you to cry. We want you to be vulnerable. So just
Right.
keep that in mind. And emotions are released through tone and
Right.
vibration. Tone and vibration. Okay, so next time you feel, because I just want to give
Please.
like one little
Please.
tip if
Please.
somebody to walk away watching this. Next time you feel like emotion well up in your body, let's just say driving, because I live in California, the traffic, and you're
Oh my
annoyed, and
God.
you have an appointment, and your kid needs to be picked up, and you're just like, and you're feeling it, but then you don't do anything, and you're just like steaming in your head. Let out those emotions, take a deep breath, and
Right. Right.
tone and vibration
Right.
releases emotion out of your body. Otherwise, it will get stuck, and then it's just going to
Yep.
become another pattern, and it's just going to, or if you're going through something hard in life, it's sometimes hard. It's hard for me to let out sound, because as a child, it was just like I was not allowed to make
Wow.
sounds, and so it's uncomfortable for me too. So now when I'm by myself, I will like make out like even scream in the shower, like, or like the
And it
wimpy.
feels, and it's the release of the energy that's all going to be very
Oh my
cathartic. You know what I mean?
gosh, it's
Yeah.
so cathartic. And if you need to do it by yourself because you're embarrassed, just do it by yourself. But next time you feel that emotion welling up in your body, let it
Beautiful.
out through tone and vibration. So if that's one tip I can give your viewers, especially for men who just got to keep it together, let it out, and it'll just free that energy and liberate, so you're not holding it, and you feel so, it's like a good
I
cry.
like
You
that
always
statement.
feel
I like
better
that
after a good
statement. I
cry.
like that statement a lot. And
Yeah.
I'll tell you one
Yes.
thing. I think that the lives you've touched, the path that you've taken, and the success that you've shown from it shows that, more importantly, the work you do is worth it. And I see it on your face that the lives that you're inspiring, and you found your true calling. So you went through everything. You went
Oh,
through
thank
everything
you,
that you did to
Rashad.
get to this point because, you know, at the end of the day,
Exactly.
dreams don't have deadlines. That's a great quote that I've heard, and I've always, that was from, yeah, I love it.
Yes,
I didn't, it's
I
not my
love
quote.
that.
I heard it from LL Cool J. So, yeah. So I was like,
Oh,
yeah. So
yay,
I'm a big
Elo.
fan of his. So I just want to say that I love that quote.
So am
So
I.
I
Yes.
appreciate you. I hope that this show, obviously you don't need me to be found, but I'm glad you carved out time for me.
Thank you. And thank you for having me on. It was a true
Thank you.
honor. And it was so nice to get to know you. And thank you
Of
for letting
course,
me tell my
anytime. I hope we
story.
have a follow up.
Yes, me as
You're
well.
welcome. Bye
Thank
bye.
you so much. Okay, bye.